this week's lesson.
Waterfall.
Getting large.
Oh.
I was thinking of doing something like an elephant, but then I saw this guy's picture, but it's not actually his picture. It's my take of Connor O'Neill's photograph. And I don't even think that his was red. I think that his was more granite. I'm also testing out using, I don't know whether you can see it, of silk surgical tape.
Oh, how interesting.
Yeah, well, it comes up nicely because it's meant not to hurt your
Stick
skin.
the skin, yeah.
The person that told me about it said that it's not very waterproof because you also want your skin to breathe. And so we're going to see how, because I've slobbered over it, as you can see. And if I pull it up, see, I think it's fine. And it came out, I did the waterfall with this same tape. And I did this rock formation with that tape.
Interesting. Very cool.
There we go. And that's pretty clear. And this was the edges were very sharp, so I had to fudge them a lot because it looked very fake. I have a tiny sketch, which has hardly got anything on it. It's just got the basic shape. Oh, the other thing that I use that was new on this is a Korean calligraphy brush. And I like that so much because it holds so much water and comes to such a fine point when it's wet. So I ordered a beginner set of calligraphy brushes, and I've been using that, and it does such nice smeary things. So that's my other experiment with this piece of paper, this painting. That's what it is. It's a painting. So cadmium red and burnt sienna. Heavy on the burnt sienna, I think. This is not going to be enough, but let's start. See what we get to. So I'm going to go along my I'm going to make my front rock just to define it. I also wanted to do something using a lot of wet, because it seems like we've been doing a lot of very precise things with our bugs and our flowers, and something looser. Oh, that's too black. I love seeing these paintings that people do where it's just 4 or 5 brush strokes.
Oh yeah, like sumi or however.
Yeah, and I have never been able to master that. I always get into this pick part. Now let's do some sky. Southwest has such cobalt blue skies.
Sure.
And when I was searching for photographs, I kept on saying, because my notion was this business of red rock, white snow, and blue sky. Canyon de Chelly in the snow. And I kept getting these snowstorms where it's all white fuzz. So was not satisfying. See, now something tells me I should have taped my waterfall because I'm not getting a smooth line going across like the striations of the rock would do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a different take. Let's try taking some off now, and then maybe taking some off again later. Because I had to do so much taking off, having used the tape, because the tape was so crisp. Oh, this is too wet. It's all too wet. Go with it. You get a different look. That is a different look.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try this. I don't like that at all. Let's get some of this back. See, I'm going to have to do this front rock all by itself, separate.
And what exactly is our goal here?
It is to do something large. Because we've done little flowers, we've done bugs. So I thought doing something big.
So we're doing big rocks in Colorado.
Some of us are doing big rocks in Colorado. Some of us might be doing big birds. Some of us might be doing big other things. I don't know what all we're doing.
Ah,
Those are the kinds of pictures I put up. I'm doing big rocks in Colorado. Or
Maybe big mistakes.
maybe big mistakes. Yes, we may be doing big mistakes.
I think I'm doing a big mistake too. I'm being wildly experimental and I'm not sure if it's working, but
Well, that's a good thing though. Being wildly experimental is how you learn things. Making mistakes is how you learn things, or at least how I learn things.
that's the easiest way for me to learn them.
Yeah.
You do it wrong, then you go, oh.
Oh, yeah. I think that I could do that better.
Mhm.
So I'm playing sort of I like the way the brush wipes away paint for rocks and it
Mhm.
gets an edge. Maybe I'll try putting in some trees and maybe it'll be better. Maybe I'll be happier. And some of this nice dark green. This is not black enough. So I've got some trees on top of my ridge. Now let's get some vegetation in the rock here. On these ledges. Those trees are probably too big. The things should get smaller as they get further. If this is our closest thing, and I'm kind of trying to follow the sort of random lines that my messing about with very wet paper and brush put down. So now I've got some vegetation, and I've got to erase these lines I've got because my skyline is not where my skyline was going to be. So my snowfield has lines in it. So now, what do I want for my snowfield? I want some shadow. I want a little bit of purplish. You probably can't even see that. And now, one of the things that is true about a lot of these places is you get this amazing staining on the rock.
Yes.
Oh, that's too thick. And it probably would be heavier near the waterfall. This has not got nowhere near enough green in it. Oops, it's too wet. Well, that's how wet it is. Dry brush, dry brush. And that makes a white instead of a green. This is not working. This brush is not good for this kind of thing. It's good for that. Let's do some of that over there. Except I think it's left-handed.
You have a left-handed brush?
No, it's that I turn that I want to come at it with the tip of the brush going in the opposite direction. So I turn it upside down.
Not the problem.
I think of that as left-handed. You know, first time I did that in one class, and one student was amazed that one could do that. Well, because she had just never thought of it. You know.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
you can turn the paper. And I suppose people who have maybe had experience of working with easels
Mhm.
Wouldn't think of
are
that.
more constrained.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so you wouldn't think that you could move. So do I dare put trees in my snowfield?
Sure.
Virginia says.
Yeah, it's easy for me to say.
Oh, they're too green. The other thing that I like to do things like rocks is because the paint, if you slobber it around enough, the paint does things.
True.
And then you see things in it. And maybe it works out and maybe it doesn't, but it's fun.
Mhm.
And maybe you just say, oh, but I love this little bit here. The rest of it, not so much, but I love this little bit here. And how can I reproduce that little bit there everywhere?
Now, are you going to leave the water white, or are you going to give it some color?
I'm going to mess with the water,
Mhm.
but I want everything dry around it.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, I'm in kind of the same boat.
I may even put some white on it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna use white. I used white on the snow on this one
Right.
because I wanted that stark white. And I think it worked very well here because it's just a dusting.
Right. I find the Southwest fascinating because the color schemes are so different.
Yeah.
From this part of the country.
Yeah.
It's not better or worse. It's just
different. It's just very different. After my husband died, my father at that point lived in Tucson. And so I went out and spent some time with him and his family. And we went on a tour of the canyons and rocks, and which is where I first went to the Canyon de Chelly. But it's certainly a beautiful place to be. Empty for the most part. Okay, so anyway, this was fun.
It was great fun. I learned a lot.
I hope so. I learned a lot. And I have a lot more to do on this. So it's coming, slow but sure.
Indeed, indeed.
Very good.
Well, thank you, Elin.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you.
Everybody. Keep safe.
Take care.
Thank
Have a
you.
great week.
You too. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.